and now we'll go to the Q&A. We are just in this Q&A, and we have already a couple of questions, but I would ask you to post more questions if you wish in the Q&A or in the chat. Okay, I will go to the chat, and then I will stop sharing my screen. Before that, we have two questions now. The first one is from the YouTube chat, and they are saying, Manos, how are dealing with fatigue in the floating SFTBs? Are these structures designed to be relatively static? I will ask maybe Arianna to answer this, or maybe Annette.
Well, I can say maybe a couple of words. The guideline for the SFTB is saying some points about fatigue design. Generally, fatigue is not expected to govern the SFTB, the design of the SFTB, but a fatigue design check must be done for the structure. So this will require a fatigue design approach that is applicable for all the elements that are subjected to an in and out of plane action effect. And it must be able to predict fatigue resistance for all the relevant fatigue failure modes. As a reference of, for the design codes, we can say that the DMV GL OSC 502, I've written the reference also in the YouTube channel, or the NS code, Norwegian code 3473. They give the fatigue strength formula for these failure modes. Well, maybe we will speak a bit more about it also in the presentation today of chapter 7. But I can say that the FIB guideline is giving some indication on this, more detailed. I don't know if Annette want to add something.
Maybe Annette would like to add something.
No, I think that was a good description, at least from all our studies up until now. Fatigue has not been a problem. Yeah, so it's not expected to.
Okay, we have another question here. Is which waterproof from Wael Ibrahim? Which waterproof materials can be used against salty water? I don't know who can answer this question.
Yeah, maybe I can try, or
can you switch on your camera, please, also?
Yeah, I can. I think maybe this will also be a topic for the design later. But then the intention to have a concrete cover and limited crack widths, and then we have described that it is possible to have maybe some membrane solutions in the splicing zone, but the main intention is that the post tensioning and the concrete itself will give the durability for the structure. I don't know if Stein or Torole would add
maybe
something.
I can follow that, asking, and then in the there will be some joints among the different elements or some connections. Will be that also have a special treatment for that?
I don't remember exactly. I think we described some. Didn't we describe some membrane solution in the splices for increased protection in that area? But in general, I would say you don't want to have a membrane solution that it is both quite expensive and there are lots of area to cover. But at least in the the segments that you are splicing, which is maybe 200 meters or something like that. The elements that you take out of dock, that could be an area which is beneficial to have a membrane.
Okay.
And then you have I don't remember exactly what the name, but you have several sort of chemical membrane solutions available in the market.
I see Torole maybe want to comment something.
Yes, in general, we do exactly what Annette says. The concrete is typically very dense, and it takes care of the chloride by itself.
Okay, thank you. Stein Atle, I think would you like to say something?
I think it's mostly covered. I will touch on this topic in my presentation later on, so we could talk about the need for membranes and also a little bit on durability later on. Okay,
perfect. I don't see any other questions here, but maybe I can ask one question.
Just to say just one thing, as we had clarified, the guideline, the guideline is mainly on concrete, but we also touch the solution with other materials like steel. So Stein Atle will speak a bit about it in his presentation.
Okay, perfect. And then Ariana, now that you are there, I would just like to ask you if you can tell us a little bit about the projects in Norway, and if you know any other projects in the world, just to give an idea.
Yeah, well, in Norway, I have to say that we had to revise the plans. As you know, in Norway there is this E39, that is this 1,100 kilometer road on the west coast of Norway, and there we have some deep and wide fjords. So there, a solution with an SFTB, several SFTBs. Could be a competitive solution compared to other type of crossings. So we have done several feasibility studies. Olav Olsen has been one of our partners in these studies. And but after these, the new national transport plan, and I have to say also after these special moment in history with this pandemic, and we had to revise a bit the public investments. So some of the crossings where the SFTB was proposed, they have been they are in standby, something like this. We have a cart is in Norwegian. We have a map on the web that is updated. You can see the E39 and how the work is going on for every fjord. So there you can see what is the plan for every crossing. We still have two crossings where the SFTB is proposed. One is Sulafjord. Olav Olsen has just won the competition with other partners to do this study for Sulafjord. Then we will do some study also for a crossing with a submerged floating tube bridge. So this solution is actually still a valid solution for some of our crossings. And we also have another crossing, that is the Digernesundet Bomlafjord. Maybe not in this moment, but later the SFTB could be evaluated as a crossing solution. So this structure is still very important for us, and we are going on with the feasibility studies. So I hope Norway will come soon with the first structure built. But there is a huge competition around the world. I know that there were some study in Italy still for the Messina Strait, even if it seems that the solution of a bridge would be preferable. There are other studies, Korea, in South Korea, there are some studies. There is a big center on the SFTP. So yeah, there is a lot of interest on this structure. And we know there are other studies around the world. Some of them are not public, so we cannot share these information, but we know there are others that are evaluated in this.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Just a question that we have seen these submerged bridges or tunnels used for roads or to transfer from one place to the other. Have you had any experience or any ideas to use this technology for buildings or storage or something that is underwater, let's say, structures for any other use that is not for transportation?
Yes, we have been looking at bridges, at structures, buildings sitting in the sea and being connected with SFTBs.
Mm-hmm.
But that is for cars, so that they can park in the basement of these structures.
Of the other structures, okay.
Yeah, so it's sort of not a road; it's an access, access road. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have a hand raised by somebody here. Would you like to ask a question in the Q&A or in the chat? I just would like to thank you for the huge work done. The guidelines are very important as reference document for all the stakeholders. Okay, thank you very much, Beatrice. And let's hope that they are useful and that in the short future there is maybe an example, or maybe we can even bring another document of a detailed design or something farther from the group. No, I don't know how you see that, Torole. If you think that in the short future we will be able to have another document, or it's maybe too early.
In TG 1.2, you mean?
Yes.
Well, as I said, we have not any ongoing work. But if someone has suggestions, we are happy to receive them. And one thing was that the 91, the Bulletin 91 was very broad.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it a little bit difficult to expand on that.
We have a couple questions now. We have Giovanni Sacca is asking, when is the first SFTB prototype expected to be built? And when do you plan to carry out the first SFTB in operation? It's a difficult question.
It's an easy question. It's the answer that is difficult.
Yeah.
Well, Ariana, maybe you could.
Ariana had to leave, so maybe it's up to you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think on behalf of us that have been working with this, we have done that because we have a belief in the concept. So I would be happy to answer that. We hope the first SFTB prototype will be built in the near future. Mm-hmm. But that's a wish. That's not a. It's no orders or anything.
Yeah. Well, Ariana said that they are doing some design, no? or preliminary design for some cases. So that's a first step.
Yeah, the studies that have been going on, they are rather detailed. And the aim, of course, is to make them sufficiently detailed so that they can go into a construction phase.
Yeah, we need, let's say, a political decision.
Yes.
And yeah, then I have another question by Beatrice Fagiano. I would like to know if there are inside the document specific design criteria or general recommendation as presented in the webinar. Maybe the answer could be to Stein Atle or to any other speakers, Cohen or Annette or Bjorn, Gordon.
I think many suggestions or proposals for design criteria are listed, but not there's not a full list, but there are hints to some important design criteria. But there are also listed, and Björn has addressed this, several reference documents, standards, which will give valuable advice and also specifications for criteria.
Okay. And Beatrice says that I would also like to thank you for citing some of our project, Jintang and Qiandao in China, which we carried out with a cooperation project funded by the Italian Ministry with Chinese partners. Then I have and they say, thank you for your answer. And while Ibrahim says, I will be very happy if we will have part 2 of this webinar, as it was full of useful and interesting info. Thank you all for the great efforts.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have no more questions. If any of you would like to say some last word, or Ole, or Stein Atle, or Bjorn, or Cohen, Gordon, or with then otherwise, yeah, maybe we can say goodbye and then we close the webinar.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentations. Thank you for the people that are there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you.
Yes.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
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 Bye.